Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is The Lady Designer, and today I would like to talk with you all about the different game modes in Planet Zoo. Chances are high that you are watching this video because you are new to Planet Zoo on PC, or that you will be diving into the Planet Zoo console edition this week. No matter on what platform you are playing, feel more than welcome here on my channel. There are hopefully tons of Planet Zoo videos for you on my channel to get inspired or to get you going into the game and get better when it comes down to building with the tons of tutorials I've made over the past 4 years. I will make sure to put some useful playlists for you in the description and in the pinned comment of this video so you can easily find them. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on my newest Planet Zoo content that I will be uploading on the channel in the future. Now in this video, I want to specifically talk about the different game modes in Planet Zoo because I can imagine it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first start the game and you don't know where to pretty much start. So you just bought Planet Zoo on PC or on the console edition and you started, and this is pretty much the screen that you will be seeing. Now obviously I'm playing on Steam, so these are the Steam friends that I have that also own the game, but don't worry, for your game it really doesn't matter if you have people on your globe or not. Now it could be that you may not be seeing this Sandbox Mode button. I think I've heard some people say that they didn't see that at first. That is because Frontier is really trying to push you to start with the career mode. There's a reason why this is called First Steps, and I also really do recommend when you're just starting out to play Planet Zoo to really start playing with the career mode. So if you click the career mode, you can see several maps right over here. There are obviously a lot of maps that are still locked. That is because you will need to work your way through the whole career mode to be able to unlock all these maps right over here. So my advice definitely is to go and play the Goodwin House, then go to the next one and the next one, because I think if I remember correctly, at least all these 3 maps are all tutorials. So they will get you through all the basics that you will need to know to get going into the game. And then I think Maple Leaf Wildlife Park is the first map. You will pretty much start blank. Now the career mode I also always try to refer to as like a story mode, because you have Bernie and Nancy and some other Planet Zoo characters that will pretty much guide you with a little story through all these maps right over here. So it's definitely a fun way to get to know the game a little bit more, to dive deeper into it with a little bit of a story mode, and also with like different objectives. So the different objectives will also be available for other game modes, but just to give you guys an idea of what kind of things you can expect, it's things like build a certain amount of habitat, have a certain amount of animal species, or release a certain amount of animals into the wild, reach a certain number of guests in your zoo, or maybe reach like an amount of staff or guest happiness rating, earn a specific yearly profit, have a certain amount of exhibit animals, adding a transport ride, or like achieve an overall zoo rating, etc, etc. There are definitely a lot of different objectives into the game that will give you a little bit more of a challenge by playing Planet Zoo. And also another thing to mention, and that goes for the whole game pretty much, once you click a map, you will be able to set the difficulty. So for example, the easy difficulty has an easier way to maintain animal welfare, takes longer for animals to get stressed, it takes longer for them to die, animals never get bored of enrichment items, etc, etc. Just feel free to pause this screen if you want to read all the points right over here, but obviously if you're jumping into the game, you will be able to also read it yourself. But yeah, on medium difficulty, you can expect animals to never get bored of enrichment items, guests won't request refunds, a 5-star guest happiness rating requires an average happiness of 85%, And when we go to hard mode, you can read that animal welfare is harder to maintain, they will get stressed faster, animal will die quicker when an issue is critical, they get bored of enrichment items, so you will need to replace the enrichment items every other month or whatsoever. Guests will learn less from the educational sources, happiness will drop faster, will request a refund, guests are less willing to spend any money, guest happiness rating is harder to require at 90%, staff will get tired faster. So yeah, you can play however you want to play this game. In all honesty, I have always played on medium mode so far, so I never really got into hard mode because, well, especially in the beginning when we played franchise mode, it was like extremely hard to play on hard mode, especially when it came down to guest needs for like drink shops and food shops. Like it felt like every habitat you were building, you had to place down a drink shop or food shop, and it was like too much of everything. So yeah, at some point I really stopped playing to play on hard mode, but I don't know. It could definitely be that things have changed over the years. They have been tweaking a lot when it comes down to zoo management and stuff to make it more interesting. So yeah, it's something you could try. Maybe people out there watching right now can tell us their experience with hard mode these days so they can clarify some things if needed. That would be super amazing. So once you've played a few maps here and you got a hang of the game and you are up for some extra challenge, you could also go for the timed scenarios. And well, obviously the difference is that you will now be playing with a timer. So on easy mode, you have 1 hour and 30 minutes. On medium mode, 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then on hard mode, you will only have 1 hour with all the difficulties and then be able to try and reach golden stars. Also good to mention, just a little funsy I guess, is that whenever you are achieving any of the silver or bronze or golden status, you will also receive these statues which you will be able to put down in any of your zoos or any of your maps if you want to. So that is really nice. And another reason to go through all these maps if you want to unlock all these statues. But on PC, you will also be able to just download a mod and unlock all the statues right away if you want to. But unfortunately, that won't be possible if you're playing on the console edition, I'm afraid. So then, moving back to the main menu where you will see franchise mode. And this is also my most favorite mode of the game. And every day when you go into this franchise mode, you will earn a new reward, which is 100 conservation credits. And with these conservation credits, you will be able to buy certain animals in the game. In franchise mode, you will be able to build your own franchise, and underneath this franchise, you will be able to open as many zoos as you want. You can get a new zoo for 100 conservation credits. You can then pick desert, grassland, tropical, temperate, taiga, or the tundra biome. And it's also good to mention that whenever you go and click a different map, you can't really tell from franchise mode, but you will be. I will show that as well in sandbox mode. But all of these maps, well, most of these maps are a little bit different depending on what continent you're on. It's just a visual thing. Apart from I think it's the tropical South America map, that one is a little bit different, which is more of like a mountain map. But also for franchise mode, you can pick if you want to play on easy, medium, or hard mode, but I think you can always change this later on into your settings, so don't worry too much about that. You will be able to also upload your own maps here. I have a whole tutorial here. I don't really think that works for the console edition, but if you're playing on PC, you will be able to make your own maps in Photoshop, for example, and then upload it. It's nothing that I personally use. There are a few people that do use it. Yeah, if you want to know more about that, I do have a whole tutorial about that on the channel as well. You can obviously name your zoo right over here and then create your map for 100 conservation credits. So to quickly give you guys a little bit of an idea of what a franchise mode is, I jumped into my African mini zoo series, one of my most favorite series that I've created on the channel. So definitely recommend watching this one if you're interested in seeing more of this one. Definitely a zoo I am super proud of still and super happy with. But yeah, obviously you will start the first time with an empty zoo, and the game will first tell you right over here on the left side as well that you will need to add staff buildings first. They are here at the facility, and you can find, I will turn off blueprints, you can find several staff buildings right over here, and it will require you to add some staff buildings first before you will be able to go into the animal trading part. So the animal trading goes a little bit different for console edition than Steam, but for Steam players, you will be able to trade with other Steam players. So all these green ones that you're seeing right now are conservation credits, and you can see my balance right over here. I have over 30,000. There is a way to easily get conservation credits with a breeding zoo. I also made a tutorial for that if you're interested. But yeah, once you have a certain amount of conservation credits, you will be able to buy certain animals. But as you can see right over here, don't worry if you don't have that many conservation credits. You can also buy animals with money from the Frontier Zoo. And for console players, you will be able to trade with other people, and I think it's both on PlayStation and Xbox, so you will be able to trade together, and that will be a different animal market, but you will also be able to trade online. So yeah, you also need conservation credits for that. But don't worry, Frontier Zoo is also there to add animals on your list here to buy with cash. So don't worry too much about that, and feel free to just keep refreshing your list if you're here selecting a specific type of animal that you're looking for. So for example, I'm looking for the African buffalo. You can see that there are not that many animals. I'm not really sure why someone is selling this one for 10,000. I pretty much always try to ignore these people. But you will also be able to get animals from the Frontier Zoo. And when your list is empty, don't worry. Just keep refreshing. It's a thing, and I think especially on console, where Frontier probably still needs to balance out the animal requests and stuff, just keep refreshing. At some point, there will be animals here popping up again from the Frontier Zoo if there is no one else trying to trade with certain animals for conservation credits. So yeah, that is definitely something to keep in mind. Also, you have your animal storage right over here. So you will be able to have 200 animal in your storage. And now what is good to mention, like you open a zoo on franchise mode, and then you will start, I think out of my head, with like $40,000 in money. So that will be always the same. But what is not the same is, one, you are able to transfer animals from one franchise mode zoo to the other zoo with your animal storage. So I have these type of animals now in my storage, and I can put these in my zoo if I want to. But if I open another franchise zoo, I will have the same storage. So you will be able to transfer animals from one zoo in your franchise to the other zoo in your franchise with the animal storage. So that is pretty cool if you ask me. So there are also community challenges. Right over here you have the challenges for your own franchise zoo. So release an animal into the wild, your education and inspector, and you are able to earn a little bit of money by doing these small little challenges. And then right over here you have the community challenges. I'm going to assume that for Steam you have a challenge that is only for Steam players, and on console there will be challenges for the players that are playing on console. Either way, you can see how much time there is left. You will also see an overview when there is an ongoing challenge on the main menu. And right over here, this one is, for example, the Tales from the Taiga. Gather around, everyone. It's time to share some tales from the taiga. What animals will we hear about today? Do you have favorite? Release 4-star taiga animals to tell their stories. You've got this, zookeepers. So yeah, in this case, they're asking you to release 4-star taiga animals. And if you do that, you will be able to earn a little bit of conservation credits. And sometimes there will be like this golden leaf, if I remember correctly. And at some point, if you reach that goal, you will be getting a reward that you are able to claim on the main menu, and I think also from this tab, by the way. And when doing that, you will be able to get some oh yes, okay, this is the one. So at some point you will be able to be in the community standing with the highest rewards, and if you're able to achieve that, you will be able to get some rare animals. So right over here you can see all the animals that I have gained through these community challenges. So they are mostly animals with a golden status, or as you can see right over here, we have like this albino pronghorn antelope, and right over here I have an albino black wildebeest, and right over here I have an albino aldirat giant tortoise. So yeah, you will be able to get some rare animals or some very high rated animals. They do not take any space up of your animal storage. They will stay right over here in this list until you will transfer them to your animal storage if you really want to use them. So I would advise just keep them in here, just like I am doing. I almost forget about them, to be completely honest. But yeah, they will take a lot of space of your animal storage if you do so. So yeah, and the rewards, you will also take the rewards with you in other zoos within your franchise zoo. So no money, you will not take your money. You will take your conservation credits to all of your zoos, and you will be taking your animal storage to all of your zoos. There's one other thing that you will take along with you as well, and that is right over here. So once you will get, is this the one? Yes. So once you will buy a new pack, or well, if we're lucky, we're going to see some new building packs launching as well for Planet Zoo on PC. But when you don't have all the packs yet and you are going to buy any of the new packs, talking about buying any new packs, if you're interested in getting any new pack, I highly recommend you to check out the sponsor of a channel, Instant Gaming, because via their website you can get a really good discount on Planet Zoo and all its packs, and by buying via their website you will get a great discount, and you will also be supporting the channel. You can find a link to their website in the description of this video and in the pinned message of the comment section, so you can easily find it. So yeah, when you recently got a new pack, you will notice that you will not have any of the construction pieces right over here in your overview. Like when you select a content pack, for example, the Australia pack, you just bought the Australia pack, you will not see these items right over here. And that is because you will need to do the research for that. So you will be doing that with a research center and one of your mechanics, and you move it on to one. Yeah, well, I already did do all the research, as you can see right over here, but you will need to research the items first before you will be able to use them in your zoo. Something that even I still forget until this day. Every time that I got a new pack, I'm like, oh shoot, totally forgot that I need to do the research first. So you need to do the research just one time, and then as long as you keep your zoo, obviously, and you open a new franchise zoo, you will take with you all the research that you have done. So you don't have to do the research every time again when you open a zoo. Unless you delete all your franchise zoos and you are like, oh yeah, I want to start all over again, and you delete all your zoos, then you will lose your animals in your training center and you will lose all the research that you have done. So definitely would not recommend unless you want to start all over again. But if you did some research and you have some animals in your first zoo, just open a new zoo next to that one inside your franchise instead of deleting that one, if that makes any sense. But yeah, good to know that you will take with you also the research that you've done. And the same goes for, let's see, the vet research. So you can do research on your animals to unlock certain things. So at some point you unlock enrichment items and food enrichment items, and your breeding research, you get like a bonus or educational bonus, etc. So you can do research with your veterinarians, and with your veterinarians you will be able to unlock things for your animals. And there are also diseases. So when you have a disease in your zoo, you will need to put your vet onto doing research of that certain disease. But once you have research at all, you will take with you all the research that you have done. But in order to be able to do the research on these animals, you will need to have these animals in your zoo, because your veterinarian will walk between the animal and the research center to be able to do that. I think I did just mention that the mechanics do research in the research center. That's not the case. The vets do the research in the research center and the mechanics do research in the workshop. So just to clarify that. And to just answer the question, like, what is the main goal of a franchise? Obviously, you are going to work towards a good running franchise. Maybe you want to breed with the animals and breed the best rated animals possible. Maybe you want to breed animals specifically to put up into the training center for other people to buy to earn more conservation credits. Maybe you want to breed something for special colored animals. Obviously, you have your whole zoo tab right over here with a zoo reputation. You want to go for a 5-star zoo. You want to have lots of money. My money is not going super well. You want to have the best trained staff members, maybe. You want to have the best running zoo, whatever. There are tons of things that you can do here, but you won't be having the objectives that you can have in a career mode or the story mode. So just to clarify that, this is really more focusing on managing your zoo best way possible. And yeah, if you do your best, you can create some really cool and good looking zoos here. Obviously it's raining right now, but even the rain makes something very beautiful. I don't know, it definitely has its charm, I guess, in this game. But yeah, that is basically what a franchise mode is about. Build your own franchise with different zoos all around the world. And yeah, have a good running franchise with lots of beautiful and amazing animals to enjoy. Jumping back to the main menu of Planet Zoo, we can find challenge mode. Build your zoos offline with a full economy and challenges. Now, challenge mode is, we used to say it's like franchise mode, but then offline. But obviously the big difference is, one, you're not able to build your own franchise. So you will be just able to build a zoo just like you do in franchise mode, but then you will not be able to bring the research with you to any other zoos that you're building. You are not able to transfer animals from one zoo to the other, and also the animal market will not be filled by people that are also playing Planet Zoo, but instead the animal market will only be filled with the Frontier Zoo. So you will only be seeing probably 4 animals every time you're searching for an animal. It will guarantee you a lot more that you will get a specific animal, so you don't have to wait or refresh it market because someone else already took the animals from the frontier zoo, or there are just no other animals being offered by other players on the animal market. So yeah, when it comes down to adopting animals, it's a lot easier to get animals. They're not that rare, I guess, than specific animals you can find on the franchise mode market. But you are still able to build your dream zoo with like the management part and to be able to breed animals and such. But yeah, putting animals up on the training center or selling them is just not as interesting, I guess, when it comes down to challenge mode compared to franchise mode. But yeah, other than that, you are just able to enjoy the game and the management part of it with a challenge mode. And here you are also able to pick scenario zoo maps if you want to. So you can use terrain only, or you can continue with the scenario map or the career mode maps and just build upon that in a challenge mode. And then the last game mode in Planet Zoo, also a very popular one, is Sandbox Mode. And in Sandbox Mode, you can just do whatever you want. And as you can tell, I also build a lot of Sandbox Mode zoos. There is definitely one difference that I should mention now that you're seeing this. Like in Sandbox Mode, you are pretty much able to make separate save files when it comes down to if you build one habitat, like especially me as a YouTuber, like for every episode, I want to create a new save file just in case something goes wrong. That pretty much never happened, at least to me. But yeah, just imagine having a corrupted save file, so then I will be able to jump back into one of the files. With franchise mode, you're not able to do that because in franchise mode, you're playing online. So whenever you save your file, it will be saved over the latest franchise mode file. So that is also something different. But in all honesty, I barely had issues with that when it comes down to franchise mode. And this is like more doing it for a feeling than that it was really needed. But yeah, once in a while it could happen that some people get a corrupted save file, and I'm like, better safe than sorry, right? So yeah, that's why you see a lot of different files right over here. So when you open a new zoo, you can right away click. And this is what I wanted to show you earlier, but it didn't show up. I'm not entirely sure why it's not showing right over here. But when you are selecting a map when you're just starting out, you can see that the maps are changing. So right now we're on desert. So this is the map for desert. And then it changes for Asia, changes a little bit for Oceania, North America, and South America. And the same goes here for all these maps. Some of them are still the same, but yeah, for some maps, there are some different maps. So when we go to tropical and, for example, South America, like it's really hard to tell from this really tiny map. But yeah, for this map, compared to others, these are all pretty much flat maps when there are like some mountains around it. In South America, you are pretty much building on top of a map. And I think the map is inspired of Machu Picchu. I probably ruined that name really hard, but that's like a city of the Incas in Peru, if I'm correct. So yeah, this map is a little bit smaller, and it's built on top of a mountain. So yeah, if you're curious how that map looks, definitely just go and jump in just to get an idea of it. And there's also a new map, and I think, yes, that's this one. With the Oceania temperate map. So most of these are just flat maps, and the Oceania map is a little bit more giving you the feeling that you're building on an island. So that is also a different when it comes down to other maps. And this way, like all these maps, well, most of them, as I said, do have a little bit of a different ambiance or like a different backdrop. So it doesn't change too much with how you're building, but more of like the look around your zoo, that is. But that's definitely cool to mention. And of course, you are also able to build on top of these scenario maps, and you will be able to just remove all the stuff that is built on top of it. So you're using the map only, or you're going to use this map and expand on them. And the more you unlock, of course, with career mode, the more you will be able the more maps you will be able to choose, that is. So jumping into my very first zoo ever made in Planet Zoo, this is pretty much a base game zoo. So if you're just starting out in Planet Zoo and you want to know what you can do with only the base game, highly recommend you to watch my Mailing Zoo series. I will also obviously link it in the description and in the pinned message of the comment section if you want to check this one out. Definitely a very fun verse zoo that I created in Planet Zoo. But this was also my very first Sandbox Zoo. So just to give you guys an idea of the difference when it comes down to franchise mode. Like franchise mode, a lot of the settings are already set. You can change it a little bit here, by the way, in your menu, in your settings. So for franchise mode, it does look a little bit different than Sandbox mode, obviously. So with Sandbox mode, it's good to mention you are not able to share your animal storage with other files. So you will not be able to transfer animals from one Sandbox zoo to the other Sandbox zoo. And the same goes for the vet research and the mechanic research. However, it's not that big of a deal, I guess, because in Sandbox mode, you can play however you want to play. So this zoo was with unlimited amount of cash, unlimited amount of conservation credits, and so on. So we can go here to this button that will also lead you to the same menu that we just were. So it doesn't really matter where you click. So for Sandbox, you have a few preset setting options. So you can go for creative presets, which will disable all management settings to focus on creativity when building. You have the challenge preset, and you also have a saved custom preset, individual zoo settings, etc. So just to give you guys an idea, there are animal settings. So you can turn on or off animal welfare, animal death, animal illness, animals giving birth and aging. You can also turn that on or off. Reduce animal aging time. The rating. So this is definitely a good one. Reduce the speed at which your animals age. This is definitely something I use a lot for franchise mode. I totally should have mentioned that. But this is definitely an option to use if you don't want your animals to die fast or grow up fast. Now for Sandbox mode, doesn't matter too much again, because it does depend how you are playing. So you can play with like all your settings turned on and just make sure, or turned on is actually like this, but to make sure that these things will give you a challenge. You can enable the social groups, overcrowding, animal stress, the terrain need, the plant need, everything you can turn on or off pretty much. You can enable or disable the protesters. You can set the maximum amount of guests in your zoo, enable guest happiness, the energy, hunger, thirst, toilet need, vandalism, pickpockets, and of course you can also make sure that you are playing with cash. So you can change this and just make sure that you're not playing with unlimited money, but you're actually having a challenge here. So you can really choose however you want to play. If you want to play with money, you realize that you are out of money, you can always just change this one again to give yourself a little bit more money. You can change the amount of conservation credits right over here, although the conservation credits don't really matter too much, because you can also just buy the animals with money here, because you're not playing with this online market like you do in franchise mode. So most of these animals do have either an option to play with conservation credits or with money, and the same goes for exhibit animals right over here. And you can also choose, for example, to power everything so you don't have to play with putting down any generators and such. And you can also choose or to disable or enable anything when it comes down to managing your staff. Enable research or disable the research is also very easy, so you don't have to do the research all over again when you start a new sandbox zoo. So yeah, there are tons of options here. Definitely worth it to choose however you want to play this game, to have a look at all these sandbox settings, to play however you want to play, and to enjoy the game however you want to enjoy the game. And then quickly going back again to the main menu, not really a game mode, but I did want to mention this as well. So in the My Zoos tab right over here, you will see all of your zoos also in challenge mode, I think, and the ones that are in career mode and in franchise mode. So for example, I have this franchise mode. This is the African mini zoo that you saw in the beginning of this video, and you can say I want to go to franchise, I want to open it as a challenge zoo, or you want to open it as a sandbox zoo. So you can't do this the other way around. So with a sandbox zoo, you will not be able to open it as a franchise zoo or challenge zoo. But if you want to go from franchise to or challenge mode to sandbox mode, you will be able to do this as well. So you can pretty much do that right over here in your My Zoos tab. And then when it comes down to all your downloaded zoos, so from the Steam Workshop or the Frontier Workshop, I'm assuming from the Planet Zoo Console Edition, you will be able to find here at the Downloads tab. I know I sometimes get the question from new players, like I downloaded a zoo, can't find it anywhere, how do I access it? You can access any of the downloaded zoos right over here at the Downloads tab. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful for all of you new players out there that are jumping into Planet Zoo and want to know more what they can do in the game and what the specific difference is when it comes down to all these game modes in Planet Zoo. Let me know in the comments down below if this video was helpful. Leave a like at this video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And also definitely make sure to check out Instant Gaming for a great discount if you're still missing out on any of the Planet Zoo packs, with the link in the description of this video and in the pinned message of the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys!